Remember, last undone. Remember, I was going to say, remember, this hasn't been at least undone for 20 or 24 years, so it's going to be tight. Oh, there it goes.
Was it 1999 on the tax disc?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time, isn't it? Hold that.
Right. Uh-oh.
Is that water?
Right, at the end of the last video, it was left on a bit of a cliffhanger. Apologies for that, but I had to do it. Hello everybody, a very warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC garage. Now, in this episode, we are going to go right back to where that last clip finished, and we're going to get this engine completely stripped down to find out exactly what it needs. And believe me, it's not good. So without further ado, let's get back to the action. I'll show you exactly what we found. Yeah. No, a little bit. Well, it could have been worse, I guess.
When I saw that water to start with, I was like, oh god.
Yeah, it's got some chunks in it. See that? Mm. Let's leave it down here now. It's got some chunks in it. And that's just, I mean, look at the sump plug. Gunk in the sump plug, hopefully you can see that on there. It's got some big old chunks coming out of that, hasn't it? Definitely have to have sump, well, I've got to have sump off anyway, but. That is not good, is it? 24 years of sitting in this engine through all them hot and cold cycles. Who keeps texting you?
I reckon it'd be Spray.
Wants to know what's going on with the Lotus, doesn't he? Our friend Spratty, his surname's Sprat, his name's Chris. He's big into Lotuses, and Dan's been sending him a few update pictures during the day. And he's curious to see how we're getting on, you know. That is definitely some chunky old oil in that. I've not, don't think I've had an engine with bits, lumps coming out like that before, have you?
No.
I've not had an engine. It absolutely stinks as well. It's like, not of petrol or anything, just of really manky old oil, basically. Dinosaur juice, as Derek from Vice Grip would say. Yeah, that is pretty mank. Right, we're going to let this drain out, and once we have, we can then flip the engine over and take the sump off. Right, oil is now drained, or thereabouts, so we're going to buzz this sump off now and see what we've got inside. These are 13mm nuts. Let's hope this impact driver can do this. It can't. This certainly has a bit of a problem, this impact driver, doesn't it?
Seems to do up alright, but not undo.
Yeah. Alright, well, bear in mind they haven't been off the engine ever, probably, so. But then, well, they're not that tight, really. We'll crack them all off with this manual ratchet and then buzz them off with that after. God, there's quite a few, isn't there? How many are there?
There's around here as well. I don't want to do some of these back ones.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah. Clang. Get another 30mm on a go. I can buzz these off while you're doing that. Where's me? There it is. Curious to know what's inside the bottom of this pan. Whee! Oh,
sugar.
It's alright. Came off the bit of wood we had it on. Didn't seem like they wanted to undo them, but it did. That's right.
There's one here that's got a nut on the other side of it.
Was there? Oh God.
A few around here have got nuts on the other side.
Pain in the bum, innit? That come off easy, didn't it?
Not expecting that.
No.
You got it?
Yep. Oh my God, look at the pickup.
Oh my God. Bit clagged up, isn't it?
God, yeah, you ain't kidding. Imagine running that. That wouldn't have picked up anything, would it?
No idea, would it?
There's a big old sump, isn't it?
You can tell it's had water in it at some point. It's got that,
well,
like...
we had water in it when we drained it, didn't it?
Well, yeah. But quite a bit. Look at this, like, diarrhea.
Grab the camera, hang on. Right, it's what we've got underneath the oil strainer. Look at the state of that. And Dan was just saying about all the sludge on the top of that gasket there. Yeah, this is definitely a good thing this is coming apart, I think. Right, we're going to let that drip drain out for a bit longer, and once it's sort of got most of it off, we'll wipe the rest of it, and then we can flip it over and have a look inside the bottom of the engine. Right, we have just flipped this up the other way. Dan's got a little bit of burpees. And look at all the, what can only be described as sand that's just come out of the engine. Now that is all obviously stuff that's dried inside from when I first drained the water out of it. It was all the bars leak or stop leak or whatever the hell was it. So that just shows you how much it gunks up your engine when you put that kind of stuff inside. Now, we've just flipped it up the other way. And as you can see there, it looks fairly clean inside from what we can see so far. This was all completely sludged up. I have wiped that with a cloth, and it was all laying on the top there, which is now obviously upside down. It was in a pretty bad state of affairs as far as an oil pickup's concerned, so that definitely would have been probably starving the engine a little bit of oil. So it's good that we're obviously doing all this and making sure that it's all right. So next thing we're going to do now, I think, is we're curious to know is take one of these either main bearing caps off or conrod caps off and see what sort of condition these bearings are in. So we're going to have a look at that, and we'll show you in a minute. Right, I've not got the microphones on because the phone's charging up, but we're just taking this main conrod bearing off, and I'm going to see what sort of condition it's in underneath. Came undone fairly easily. Hoping it's going to be nice shiny silver bearing under here and no damage. That is the hope. Put those in there for now. Get Dan's expert opinion on this in a minute. Ooh, look at that. Bit gloopy. At least it's oil, I suppose, not water.
Yeah, at least it's not that colour.
Yeah, that is pretty manky in here. It's definitely. Can you see that side down? And see all the water droplets? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely had water in it. Yeah, 100% water. Well, not 100%, but you know what I mean. Creamy oil.
Yeah.
Let's get a cloth.
Definitely got quite wet in there at some point, hasn't it?
And then the bearings are knackered.
Are they?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no doubt about that, is there?
Yep. That is not good. Can you see that? Ooh, get out of the light a little bit. There, look. See that little witness mark where it's been rubbing?
Mm. And that coppery colour.
Yeah, it's worn through.
Should be silver all the way.
Coating. So
Yeah.
we need a set of bearings in it.
That's definitely knackered.
So I'd imagine
That'll rattle a bit, wouldn't it, with all them in there?
Yeah.
Oh, getting bars on the screen.
The can you see in there? The actual crank itself looks alright, which is good. There's no scores on that at all. Can't feel anything. Totally dead smooth. So in theory, we've probably just caught that in time.
There's no even lip on it, is there?
No, there's nothing. So that's good. Our crank's alright, but we are going to need at least a set of conrod shells. I would hazard a guess that the main bearing shells are probably going to be similar, aren't they? Because
so it looks like you'd be taking this plate off then.
Yeah, Dan was just saying this is the same arrangement as a DeLorean, where it's got like a sandwich plate on it, so it bolts on all around the edge here, and this whole bottom section of engine comes off with the centre, with the main bearing caps on all in it.
Join all the way along the block there, and that whole piece comes off.
So you have to undo the main bearing caps, do you, and these outer ones, and then that whole so the main bearing bearings are actually in this piece of alley, are they?
Don't know on this. On the DeLorean, they've got separate ones. Don't know. It does look like it's all part of the same casting. That so the whole lot comes off.
So the whole lot comes off, and then your main bearing shells go into that. Yeah. Well, I say everything happens for a reason. If that spark plug hadn't snapped, I wouldn't have looked at any of this. So it just shows you that things happen for a reason. One spark plug snap just led to us finding out that we haven't looked at the others yet, but that bearing in particular has had it, which means that the other ones are probably not far behind. So it would have only been a matter of time before the engine started rattling or losing oil pressure or whatever else, and it would have been game over. So at least it's at the stage at the moment where it's savable.
Imagine trying to start it up with all this sludge still in it.
Yeah, and I mean that pickup was, you can still see it on there now, look. That's just, it's a bit watery now, but that is all sludge around that. So imagine how much that's losing oil pressure wise. Yeah, it wouldn't have picked it up anywhere near how it should have.
Probably why these are knackered, because it's been run full of sludge.
Yeah,
at some point.
If they said that bar's leaking it or whatever. So yeah, well, it looks like we're going to be tearing this thing down to the bare bones by the looks of it. Oh dear! Oh, look at that.
Cool. Yeah.
That's a mixture of. Looks like oil, sand, God knows what, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think you're going back to the block, aren't you?
Yeah. Always makes you wonder why a car was taken off the road. That is obviously why. Because the engine was having some issues, which obviously, I guess it's good in a way, because if he had carried on using it, he probably would have grenaded it. So in stopping using it, in a way it saved it, although it sat for 24 years in between, it has actually saved it, so I suppose that's a good thing in a way. Do you think it's worth taking all these off and just popping them out? Because we've got to do that.
They've got to come off anyway, haven't they?
Yeah. Alright, well we obviously did that one on camera, but we're going to do the rest of them off camera.
We could even take this off, couldn't we, while it's upside down?
Could do, yeah, take it out, yeah.
The only thing is you're going to have to move the engine stand bolts, because they go into that plate.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, didn't know that, did we? And we're going to have to take that housing off the rear main seal as well.
Yeah.
Because that goes into this piece as well. Okay, looks like we've got a bit of work ahead of us. Don't think we're going to get all that done tonight, but
we could probably get all the conrods off though, couldn't we? Get the pistons out.
Yeah, get the pistons out and the liners maybe. Make sure we keep them in order. I want them to go back where they came out, so I know that they're machined the same, if that makes sense. Right, we'll come back to you when we've had a little bit more of an update. Rightio, we've got number 1 and number 4 pistons out now. Number 4 is the same situation as number 1 was as far as condition. Hoping you're going to be able to see that in there. It is quite scored, not scored, quite worn I should say, as far as the silver coating all being worn off, and it is all going bronze in there, so that is obviously in the same situation as number 1. The rings all look to be completely stuck at the moment, so I may have to give them a little bit of a soak and see what sort of condition they're in. Dan's just doing the middle 2 caps. You may have to rotate the engine a little bit, I think. 1 liner is out, number 4 liner is out at the moment, and also everything we've took apart is numbered. So from when it was built, prime example here is this liner. You can see there's number 4 engraved in it. And the same with the piston, and the same with number 1 as well. So you can't actually get them mixed up, which is really good. It's on the bottom, isn't it? Under
Oh yeah.
So there's a number 1 just there engraved in it. Show it alright? That's it. So you can see that there. So that is a really good thing from Lotus, that they've actually labelled all the bits going into the engine, so you know exactly where they've got to go back. Number 1 obviously be in the front, and number 4 be in the back. So we're going to.
There's arrows on the pistons as well, isn't there? To say front and back.
There are arrows on them as well. Yep. So we just turn it around now. It's probably going to possibly pop the liners out, but we're not worried about that because I'm going to reseal them anyway. Yeah. See, this liner's coming out. You can see all the junk coming out of it as he's doing it. Both the liners.
Oh yeah, coming out.
Yeah. So we're just going to obviously crack these up. You want me to hold anything?
Cool. That was a tight one.
Yeah. And also you'll see. I don't know if you saw it on number 1 when we did it. These bearing caps have actually got dowel pins in them, so that you get them round one way, if that makes sense. So it's really good that you can't actually put them on the wrong way round, so that they will always match up with the conrod that they're supposed to be with. That's the right term, isn't it? Conrod, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, mid undoing there, Dan. Yeah. We're just going to take these out, obviously. So we'll get these out, and I'll show you what sort of condition they're in. You can see the liners have popped back out again, so they'll need a reseating anyway, so it's not a problem. We're going to take these out.
You need them out to clean inside the block, don't you?
Yeah, you need them out because we've got to clean all that gunk and sand and rubbish that you can see coming out all over the floor. All that was inside the engine, so it is not in a good state. And I think, as Dan said to me a little while ago, we've caught this just in time as far as conditions are concerned. If it had run any longer in the condition it was in, it would have been absolutely clapped. Right, we'll get these off and we'll come back to that in a minute. Right, we're just popping these caps free because they've got these. Oi!
Wasn't hoping.
There it goes.
Wasn't planning to do it that way, but okay.
No. There's a piston. You can see the little dowels I was just talking about on there, so that's all right. What's that bearing look like? Not particularly well by the looks of it.
No, it's the same.
It's not as bad as the others actually. Well, this side's
This
not.
one's got bronze on it.
Is it? Let's have a look.
Let's rub the oil off it.
Oh yeah, it's completely clapped in it.
Yeah.
This side actually, is the bearing falling out? Is that why I can't see it? I think the bearing's falling out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where's the bearing?
It's still stuck to the crank, maybe. No.
Probably in that bowl of oil.
Yeah, probably. What did it land on?
Not sure. We've got a bearing missing in action at the moment, but we will find it, and when we do, we'll show you. Because I'm not really sure where it's gone. I bet it's in that bowl of oil. It's got to be in it. You won't see through that oil, it's pitch black. It's a right old mess, this, isn't it? I've got a lot of cleaning up to do, guys. You found it?
Yep. There it is.
What's that one look like?
Not as bad, but yeah, it's still knackered.
Bronze there, yeah. So yeah, how it's worn through that, is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The light's moving.
Yep, so that one's definitely clapped as well. We've got a rubber mallet over it that we're just knocking these out free from the liners with. Oh yeah, we're putting these caps back on so we know which ones they go with, because obviously you want to keep these so that they're with the ones that they're supposed to be with, if that makes sense. I'll put my hand under it this time when you do that, and see if...
I wasn't expecting it to drop like that.
No. Actually, it might pull out. There it goes.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, look at that bearing, that one's really bad.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Totally gone. Coating them's totally gone. There we go, look, all four matching. Or at least they haven't had any change.
Yeah.
In the interim. I'm going to check the engine number on this engine in a minute to the logbook and make sure it's the original one. I'm pretty sure it is, but I just want to make sure for peace of mind. So that is all 4 pistons and liners out, as you can see.
I've got one liner stuck.
With all the sand in there. One liner's still in there, is it?
Yeah, this one here's still stuck.
Hey, you watch, you won't come out now.
Nah, that's one in there.
All right,
Tap it out from the inside.
Yeah, we'll get that liner out, and obviously then we're into getting the sandwich plate off. But we have just realised that the brackets we've used to put the engine crane on is in the bit we've got to unbolt. So we've got to change that too, so that's a bit of a pain, but we'll sort that out anyway. Right, yeah, more bad news unfortunately. I've just looked at this liner, which is number 2, which I believe is the one that was stuck originally, and as you can see in there, the Nickel coating is coming off in big chunks. So that is not well by the looks of it. It's not good at all. I haven't even looked at the other liners yet, to be honest with you. But I'm pretty sure that was the one that was stuck. Do you want to give that one a wipe out then? Just have a little look and see. A load of gunk in it. I'm pretty sure you can get steel liners for these, but I'd rather have the proper ones if you can get them. Because what they're supposed to be, isn't it? You know. Ooh,
yeah, it's got a chunk out of it as well.
Yeah, that one's gone too. Yeah, it's gone.
There's a lip at the top as well.
Is there?
Feel that lip?
Oh yeah, yeah, I can feel that, yeah.
This one's got a lip on it as well.
Is it?
Yeah, so they're quite worn, aren't they?
This engine is not long for this world. I'm going to give that one a wipe, mate, just out of curiosity. I think it's probably going to be a similar story, but you never know. This is what 24 years of sitting does. Now, if it was a steel liner, chances are you could probably hone it out and it'd be fine. But with these Nickel liners, you can't hone them. So, once the coating starts coming off, you've got to either get them recoated if you can, or get new ones.
That one doesn't seem too bad, actually. Still lipped at the top, though.
Thing is, if you're going to change 2 of them or 3 of them, you might as well change all 4, mightn't you? It's got a lot of wear on that side. Look at that wear mark on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're all lipped at the top as well.
Yeah. So it's going to want basically rings, liners, and bearings, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
like the new engine when it's done.
Yeah. The investigation continues, but you can see by the state of the side of that piston. That was the one that was stuck originally. That was number 2, I think. I'm pretty sure that was the one that was stuck originally. It's pretty manky, and that's solid. That top pin,
yeah.
Top pin's absolutely solid. Won't even move.
Look how rusty it is there, though.
Yeah. So that never would have run.
No.
And if it did, it would have broke something. It would have just bent it, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, that would have been awful.
So that's going to need some work. Maybe a new gudgeon pin, and
you might free up if you soak it.
yeah, we'll give it a soak in some petrol, acetone or something and see. This is not going to be cheap, I don't think.
No.
Right, okay. What was the other thing that we found? There was an idler on here. It was solid, or is it not solid? Sure, one of them was solid, wasn't it?
Oh, that one on the cam belt.
Yeah, that idler in there is absolutely rock solid. Won't turn at all.
Nope.
That has absolutely had it. Right, okay. The strip down continues. Right, we have progressed slightly. We've got the complete oil pump and distributor housing off, and the cooler bits that go with it in the brackets, because we can't get the oil pickup pipe off without taking all that off and getting to this plug here, which Lotus say you need a special tool for. And luckily enough, I've got a set of these plugs that are for like hex and square peg bolts, and the end of it doesn't fit, but the actual housing part, or the middle part that you usually put the span around, fits into that plug. So we've been pretty lucky there, and it does undo. So Dan's got that undone. And in theory, so is that all that holds this pipe in?
It said something in the book. It said something about an olive round it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to drop that tool inside if I'm not careful. Okay. So I'll have a look in a minute.
So a little bit of ingenuity, or whatever the word is. And hopefully we've got it sussed. Any luck?
Can't see anything down there, so maybe that will just pull out now.
Alright, we're going to have a little go at this, see if it pulls out, and we'll show you in a minute. Right, with a little bit of persuasion from a mallet, we've got the oil pickup out there, as you can see. Now that is the collar that you have to take off with the so-called special tool, which then clamps this plastic olive around that pipe, and that's what obviously makes the seal. Now I did muller the olive a little bit slightly, so we're going to have to get a new one of those. Hopefully they still make them. So that is out now. So now we can flip the block back upside down again. We need to take off this housing for the, or at least remove the bolts for this bottom housing here on the crank, and also the rear main housing bolts that go into this sandwich plate as well. And then we should be somewhere close to getting the sandwich plate and the main bearing caps, or the whole assembly as such, off to see what sort of state these main bearings are in. So let's carry on. Oh. Right, after a lot of head scratching and hammering and undoing things, we are at the stage where this is coming off. We thought we'd get it on. We haven't took this off yet. This is as it is happening. So let's hope that the crank's all right. Don't mind the bearings being knackered, but the crank is critical. Oh, look at those, Dan.
Cool, they're a bit worn, aren't they?
Absolutely had it. Every single one. Where's that black cloth?
It's down there somewhere.
Semi-clean. That's over here. Sorry, I put it there. Bronze. Pretty much bronze in the middle. Bronze. Not bronze, but not good. And bronze. Yep, I think we can safely say they've had it. Let's have a look at
the crank itself.
Somehow or another.
Well, that's the Comrod one, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. Somehow or another, it appears to be alright. Again, I think, as Dan said, we caught this, I was just going to do that, caught this just in time, because if it had carried on running as it was, the metal would have transferred. That one's, oh no, it's alright, no, it's just a pattern, it just needs cleaning. The metal would have transferred off the shells and then really done some damage to this crank, but as it is, it actually looks perfect, thank goodness, because that would have been expensive otherwise. I mean, it's going to be expensive anyway, but even more so. It looks alright, doesn't it?
Mm.
I've got a lot of cleaning and a lot of money to spend, but at least the crank's alright. So now we can get that last liner knocked out. I think it's that one.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to change 3 liners, we might as well change 4. And then I need to get on to a friendly Lotus parts specialist and see if they'll do me a deal, because I'm going to be spending a fortune on this. I think it's going to be not cheap. So we have got a worst case scenario on this engine, unfortunately, as far as it needs new main bearing shells, it needs new conrod shells, possibly gudgeon pins, because they are a little bit seized, or a couple of them, one of them is just very seized. We need all 4 new liners. That's about it, isn't it? Oh, and a full gasket set, obviously. I knew that anyway.
I don't know what's up with the cylinder head. Anything stuck on that? Valves and things?
I don't think there was, but I haven't checked it that thoroughly, so that needs going through, obviously. Obviously, we haven't took these end plates right off yet. We're going to take these off and reseal them. We just wanted to get this sandwich plate off to try and ascertain how bad things were as such. Not as bad as they could be, I guess, but not as good as they could be at the same time, is it really? So, yeah, there we go.
Well, the only good thing with it, I suppose, is we've not snapped anything, have we?
No, that's true.
Quite often with these sort of things, we snap studs and
not like that.
bolts get stuck in the block and things. But
not like when I snapped the spark plug in the head.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing that snapped on this engine, and that's what sparked this whole teardown, because if that hadn't have happened, we wouldn't have done any of this, and then it would have been sort of wondering why it wasn't either running right, smoking loads, or overheating all the time. So,
or making a horrible noise.
Or making a horrible noise, yeah. So it would have needed this at some point in time, and it may then have not been savable because it had been run more. So As I say, I've said it to Dan 1,000 times. He thinks I'm a wally, but things happen for a reason. What is to be will be, and all that carry on. Firm believer in that. So there we go. Right, let's get this other liner out, Dan. I think we should call it a night.
Yeah, fair enough.
We've been out here. I don't know how long we've been
Started
out
at 9:30. I have no idea what time it is now.
No, probably been out here about 10 hours. I would have thought, if you don't include lunch and dinner. So yeah, marvellous. Old cars, eh? Who have them? Right, I've spent a little bit of time off camera. I've got the main crank pulley off, the bracket which holds the idler pulley and tensioner for the cam belt. The water pump pulley is just there, and I'm on the last bolt for the actual water pump itself. So I'm going to set you up somewhere so you can see. Hopefully you'll be able to see. I'll zoom you in a bit because you're sitting on top of the three-wheeled van at the moment. In fact, I'll zoom you out and I'll get the water pump off and I'll show you, hopefully, what's inside. We've got one bolt holding it. And luckily enough, everything's come undone. That's absolutely mega. I'm going to give this a gentle tap with a dead blow hammer. Hopefully it'll just pop off. Like that. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. Now, you can see in there more evidence of the bars leak stuff or whatever the hell was in it. That is not just from sitting. I don't think that has definitely got something in that. So hopefully you can see that all right on camera. It's like a sludge. That's what the engine block was like until it dried out and it turned into more like sand. So you can see all the white furriness coming out of there, so we'll have to give that a clean out as well. I won't describe what that looks like because I think you can tell already. So that's the front of the engine stripped out. This water pump, although it's been sitting all that time, it feels absolutely perfect. So I might leave well enough alone with that, because it's about 200 quid to get that rebuilt, and if you don't need it, what's the point? More sludge. Definitely going to have to give this block a proper old clean out, but just want to show you that coming off. Now, next thing I'm going to take off is that end cover here, and I've got to take this toothed piece of that pulley off as well. Get this end panel off, get that end panel off, and then the crank can lift out then. And then we can obviously see the other side of what the bearings are like on the other side of the crank. Obviously they're going to be the same as what we had before, but obviously I want to make sure what sort of condition they're in and the housings or everything are alright and all that sort of thing, you know. So just working my way through it to get down to a bare block, and then obviously we can start the mega cleanup process. Right, I've actually got the engine back off the stand, as you can see, because I had to get to the bottom bolts on this cover plate on the back end, and I couldn't get to them on the well, I got to a couple of them, but one of them got stuck, so I had to actually bang a Torx into it, which is not ideal, but got it off anyway. So I've just had a quick look at this. The crank, as you can see there, is absolutely perfect, totally smooth on every journal. No gouges, no marks, nothing. Really good. So that is mega. But as you can see by the bearings that I've just wiped, they are all absolutely had it, and we're on the verge of possibly damaging the crank. So that just shows you how bad they are. Luckily I think we just caught this in time, so that's really good. So I think, if I'm correct, that this is now pretty much as stripped as it's going to get. I'm not sure yet, I haven't had a good look around it. I want to get a piece of cardboard, lay it on the floor and put it on this end, put it upright so I can have a look at it properly. But obviously there's nothing on this end. They've got the thrust washers on this end, which have got the lines facing outwards, so it obviously gets oil in between this and the crank. They both sit in there. There's two in there on this end, on the back of the engine that is. So they're obviously there. And I'm not using the microphone at the moment because of the last time, in the last video, I kept having it cut out. So I'm just talking to you normally at the moment on the camera microphone, so hopefully you'll hear me all right. It's the same as it's always been before this, so should be fine. So I'm going to go and get a piece of cardboard, stand this on one end. I'm going to put those thrush washers safe somewhere with the crank most probably. This is the oil slinger bit which just clicks on the end of that surface there, something like that. I need to check which orientation that's supposed to be and if there's any line up marks or whatever else, but that's obviously, as far as I know, it's how it is. It's not in any bad condition or anything. It just needs putting back on again and make sure it goes back on before the engine goes back together. But yeah, now I think it's going to be a case of a massive clean-up. So let me get set up with a bit of cardboard and we'll just inspect this block a little bit more and have a look. There we go, with that on one end you can see that's pretty much stripped now. Got I think that's probably an oil pressure sensor on there. I'm not really sure what that is actually, whether it's oil pressure or whatever. I would have thought it would be, but not 100% on that. But yeah, everything's stripped off it, so now it's going to be a massive clean up of all these parts, and then I need to spend some money getting all new bits. So that's not going to be cheap. Probably going to be a similar amount to what I paid for the car, I would have thought, but still. There we go, here's what it is. At least I'll have a real nice redone engine. That'll be absolutely superb. So I think I'm going to have to get a big tub of some sort and a load of maybe diesel, and we'll clean it up with some diesel to start with. Get the worst of it off, because that's a good degreaser. It's what we used on Dan's Reliant engine when we did it, and that worked really well. So that sump's going to be the interesting one. I haven't even looked in the bottom of this sump yet to see what's in it. Yeah, it's basically just thick sludge. Yeah, you wouldn't want that running. Look at that. You wouldn't want that running through your engine. So yeah, obviously we'll get all this cover plate off and everything else and have a look inside there and clean all that up, so that's all looking good and nice and everything else. But that's another job we've got to do. So yeah, let's crack on and start getting this cleaned up. Right, I've got the block outside, as you can see, and I'm going to give it a liberal coating of some neat traffic film remover to obviously start breaking down all this gunk and whatever that's on it. I'm going to spray it with this, let this soak in for a little while, and I'm going to hit it with a pressure washer. And hopefully we will see some results. Obviously this is going to need to be thoroughly dried after before we do anything else with it, but that's fine. It's not going to be a straight away thing. We're going to be putting it straight back together again, because I need all the parts. So I just want to get it clean, to give me a little bit of a boost on the project, but also to see what state it's in, and to make it so that my garage doesn't stink of manky old oil all the time, because it absolutely reeks out there at the moment. Right, I'm going to get this all sprayed down, and then let's get the jet wash on the go, and I'll come back to you when we've had a bit of progress. There we go, we are back on the engine stand and it is looking a hell of a lot better. We can see what we're working with now, make sure there's no damage to anything anywhere. Obviously you can see I've proper cleaned up inside there as best as I possibly can with a scotch pad and some brake, or a mixture of TFR, traffic film remover, and brake cleaner. And that is cleaned up really nice. Obviously I've got to get all this old gasket material off. That can be done in due course. Just see if I can spin it over while we're on camera. Should be able to. And you'll be able to see the other side. So that looks all nice and clean. All inside that oil pump housing there is all nice and clean. And then obviously the top side of the block, I've got as much of that brown sludge out as I can. There's nothing down the sides of the liners at all. It's all absolutely clear of any gunk, sand, whatever else was in there. Obviously that's the other side of the block. I'm pretty chuffed with that, that's alright. I'm just going to go over it and make sure that there's no sort of cracks or anything like that in anywhere. Now I can see it all nice and clean. Obviously I can give it a proper inspection. Now it's going to obviously be a lot more of the same when it comes to this sort of thing over here with the sump and that. I will probably do the sump on camera and just empty it out and just see what's in there so you can see it live. Probably do that next actually, and I need to get that old oil put in a bottle so that it stops stinking the garage out, because it absolutely reeks in it at the moment. Also you can see on that end the water pump housing is all nice and clean now, no brown sludge in there. There is very well, you can only see it, you can't feel it on various bits on the casting. These areas here, the dark spots, you can see there's a little bit of corrosion in the alley, but that is literally on the surface. I can't feel it at all, so that is really good. There's no block corrosion to speak of. So yeah, excellent. At least you've got hopefully a good base to start with now to build it back up again. Top banana. Right, there we go, that is the sandwich plate, now nice and clean all over both sides, got the shells out. Spent a bit of time on that one, the same as I did with the engine block, as you can see. I haven't cleaned up the gasket surfaces yet, just literally getting all the mank and grease and oil and everything else on off of it as clean as I can. Obviously it's not got to be perfect, but I just wanted to get it as best I could, and I think that looks pretty good. So that is that, all sorted, along with the engine block, as you would have already seen on the engine stand there. So now we are on to this monstrosity. I'm going to get set up and I'll show you what comes out of this sump. Right, I've got most of the sludge out of my bowl that I had in all the other oil in. As you can see, I've got a couple of cans over there that I put it in. It was absolutely rank. I just want to show you, this is obviously all this, although not in the sump initially, was all in the engine, because this was sitting underneath the engine stand when we started taking it apart. Let me see if I can just stand you up on the stand so I'm not wiggling the camera around. There we go. Yeah, this was on the engine stand, under the engine stand, so all the stuff that fell out of the engine is what's on here basically. So none of this is sort of just dirt, it's all, this was all in the engine. So this is, you've seen this firsthand, look at that. Imagine that all going through your oil galleyways and coolant passages and everything else. That would, recipe for disaster, that is. Absolute mank, sludge, gunk, and just not very niceness. If that's a word, not very niceness. I'm going to come up with that. Right, now what I'm hoping is that there's a metal like gasket type thing on here, which hopefully we'll be able to pop off. Get this underneath, but I think it's got little tabs on it that hold it. Oh no, it's actually bolted in. You can just see that. I wonder what that was. There's two 10mm bolts in there, so let's unbolt that, because otherwise we'll bend it. You don't want to bend it. Where's my ratchet? Let's go and get my ratchet. Right. Don't know where my ratchet is, so let's go with the impact gun. Don't have any problem undoing these because they're all soaked in oil. So I'm assuming this is like a baffle plate, and there's actually a bolt on this end as well by the looks of it. Oh no, that was just a glob of oil. Let's see if that lifts out now then. Yep. So there's the baffle plate with all nice gunk and mank on the bottom of it. Hopefully you can see that dripping off of there. Just put that in the bowl for the minute, let that drain in there. And we can see what's actually lurking in the sump itself. I'm going to try and pour this on camera if I can. Look at that, that is a total concoction of coolant, oil, clumps, just general disgusting mank. That would definitely have not done the engine any good. That is terrible. So basically I'm going to scrape all this out, as you've just seen. Trying to get it all over my floor, which I'm not succeeding at the moment. It's going everywhere. And this stuff is absolutely disgusting. And obviously clean it all out the same way as what I did with the other stuff, which was a mixture of TFR, petrol and brake cleaner. I'll just grab the camera and show you inside here. That is what we're left with in the bottom of the sump. Just thick sludge. That is horrendous. Right, I'm going to get all this cleaned out, and once it's done I'll show you what I've ended up with. I just thought I'd cut in and show you this. I've just started cleaning the bottom of the sump and I thought it was a black painted sump. Turns out it's actually silver alley, and it's that dirty that it looked black. So there we go. So I'm just starting to clean it off. You can see that patch there, that's what it should be like. So it just shows you a comparison of how oily this was. I want to crack on, get this all cleaned, and hopefully we'll have a lovely mint sump. Right, now before I carry on cleaning this oil pan, I need to do something about these pistons. Now, as you can see, this one is nice and free. It was a little bit tight, but I freed it up with a bit of WD-40. This one, absolutely rock solid, won't move. As is this one, absolutely rock solid, won't move. This one is okay. So I've got 2 free and 2 not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the 2 that are not. I've got an old Coke bottle up here, which I've cut in half and put inside the cylinder walls. And I'm going to put these, 1 in each side. Hopefully they'll just about fit. Yep. Like that. There we go. And what we're going to do, in fact that one's pushed through a little bit, so I'll have to jiggle that one in because that's the other end of the bottle. It's got the lid in it, which is a bit narrower. What I'm going to do is fill both of these up with diesel and just let them sit. And hopefully that will aid the rings popping back out, because obviously I need to get those out and they are absolutely jammed in there, as you can see by that. And also B, freeing up the gudgeon pin. So I'm going to get a little bit of diesel put in these, and we'll leave them to soak overnight, and while they're soaking off steam we can carry on cleaning the oil pan up. Right, I found myself another empty Coke bottle lurking in the garage, luckily, and I've got all 4 of them soaking now, just to be on the double safe side. Hopefully that will free up all the rings. They only just fit inside a 2 litre bottle of Coke, so for anyone who's trying to do this, you can do it. They're a bit tight, especially on the end where the cap is, because obviously it gets narrow slightly at that end. But there we go, there's all 4 pistons in there in soak. So now we can carry on cleaning up this mess and that mess, and then we should be getting somewhere near clean for the main parts of the engine, which is really, really good. So let's crack on and get this done. Right, after a little bit of work and scrub-a-dub-dub and all the rest of it, this is what we've come up with. There is our front and rear main seals, all clean. Pretty good. Obviously, as I say, I've still got to get the gasket material off yet. I have got a new tool coming for that, so we'll do that as soon as that arrives. There's a sump. Obviously, I just thought it had a crack in it then, but I think it's just the casting. It kind of had a crack in it because it had all full of oil and it weren't leaking. So there's the inside, looking absolutely marvellous. Nice and clean in there as well. Got all the gunk out the corner of that. Again, got to get the gasket material off, but that's all right. Well chuffed with that. And there's the baffle that was inside it. Nice and clean. No gunk left on it. No sludge oil left on it. Absolutely marvellous. So that is the main sort of components, effectively, of our engine, of the main casing of the engine, clean. So I'm looking now at what I've got over here. I've got the water pump there, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with yet, whether I'm going to get it refurbed or go with it as it is, because there's no play in it and it's lovely and smooth. I've got the oil pump to clean up, so I may clean that up next, and the oil filter, oil cooler housing. A few nuts and bolts and things to clean up. Obviously I'm not going to bother cleaning up those liners because they're going to be renewed. I can probably clean up that water pump, the power steering pump a little bit, because that's all oily. And we are progressing well, really. We're getting to the point now where everything's pretty much clean, and I need to start looking at getting some new bits. And you can see obviously all the gunk and whatever that came out of there. There's 2 cans of oil there that I've filled up from all the old rubbish that came out of this engine. Pistons are still soaking. I haven't even tried to move these yet. I'm going to leave them soaking overnight. Obviously these ones were already free, so they're going to be fine. They're just obviously going to get even better as it goes, so that's great. It's not going to do it any harm at all. They're really nice and free, those ones. These ones are still... Oh, it moved. Well, that's good. So it's doing something. How about that? Look at that. So it is doing something, so that's great. So that's obviously that one. Now, I think this one was the worst one, that's from memory. Will this one move? I'm guessing probably not yet, but no, that one is absolutely solid. So we've got obviously the 2 that we're moving fine are free, and the 3rd one is now free as well, to a point. It's not mega free, not like the other ones, but obviously the more working it and the more soaking it, it'll get better and better as we go along, so that's good. Obviously that one may free up, hopefully, overnight. If it doesn't, we may have to try and clean it a little bit and put a little bit of heat on it maybe or something, just try and get that gudgeon pin moving again. I'd like to get it free and use the original stuff if I can, as long as there's no damage to it, obviously, you know. So I'm well chuffed that one's moving. At least that's one of them that's started moving again, so that's good. Right, I'm going to let them carry on soaking, and then I'm going to work out what I'm going to do next, I guess. Right, it is the next day, and these have been in soak overnight, these pistons. Now these 2 on this end we knew were free. I'll put them in there anyway. They're now nice and free, both sideways and backwards and forwards, so they're really good. This is the one, in fact, actually looking at the colour difference of the diesel, that one was always really clean. This one was a bit manky. This one is the one we got free when we was on camera last. That is lovely and free now, and again, it's got the sideways movement as well. Now this one is the one that was stuck. Look at that. How good is that? So that is lovely and free now too. And look at the colour of the diesel. You can tell how much gunk was in there. And it does actually, I think, move. Yeah, it's got a slight bit, it's a bit stiffer, but it's got a little, there you go. It's got your sideways movement back as well. I mean, obviously it's not going to move sideways once it's locked onto the crank, but it just obviously gives it a little bit of play, should it need it. So that is really, really good. So we've got all 4 pistons freed up, well, I say freed up, 3 of them, 2 of them were alright. We've got the other 2 pistons totally freed up now. This one, as I say, was absolutely seed solid. So that diesel has really done the trick. So if you ever have anything like that, can't recommend putting it in diesel enough, because that's obviously, being it's oily, it's it obviously is a lubricant, but it also has got cleaning properties in diesel as well. So that is really, really good. That's as free as anything. That so you can let it go and it just goes either way. So there we go. That has worked absolutely brilliantly. Best case scenario that is. So it's lovely and free again now, which means I haven't got to worry about that gudgeon pin anymore, which is great. Right then, that is going to be it for this episode on MEC-TEC. We have made mammoth progress on the old Lotus engine, completely blowing it all apart, as you would have just seen. I've set it all up like a bit of an exploder view. Now don't worry, the heads for the car are still in the boot, which is why they're not in that last clip on the floor there. That is all the stuff that we've taken out in the last couple of videos, i.e. bottom half of the engine, gearbox, and all the bits that were bolted to it. So if in case you're wondering where the heads are, they are in the boot of the car still at the moment, where they've been for the last year. Anyway, we won't go into that. So yeah, that is all stripped apart. I now need to obviously look at parts and what I need and make a list and all that sort of thing. So if you are not subscribed already and you enjoyed this video, please do me that favour and hit that button down there, hit the subscribe button. Like, subscribe, share and hit the notification bell. Those 4 things help me out absolutely massively. If you could do those for me, that would be absolutely mega if you haven't already. Hopefully I'm going to carry on with progress on the old Lotus. I don't know how quick it's going to be from now on, because as I say, I need all the parts and I don't know how long they're going to take to get. So obviously that will be the deciding factor on that side of things. If I don't get another video out before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I will try my best obviously to get another video out, but if I don't, I want to say that now, just to obviously say Merry Christmas and all that sort of thing, because I'm not sure whether I'm going to get another video in. And all that's left for me to say is thank you very much for watching. And if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I will see you again next time. Right, I need to ring the bank, get some money for this engine. Yeah, you're right, Dad. Yeah, I have a small favour to ask.